Hi, I'm Mitch Nathanson, the author of Bouton, The Life of a Baseball Original, the biography of Jim Bouton, the author of Ball 4, which was released 50 years ago next month. I'm going to take a couple of minutes and show you some cool things that I found while I was researching the book. And this time I'm going to focus on the mail that Bouton received in response to the release of the book, fan mail and otherwise. When I was going through Bouton's notes, the 978 sheets of paper that he kept that formed the basis of Ball 4. I came across this, which was something that Bouton jotted down that his brother Bob had told him after he'd read a couple of chapters. He said, "This is a great book, Jim, but what's Mom going to think?" And of course, Bouton was concerned about what his parents were going to think, whether they were going to disown him or think it was great. But there was a lot of expectation and unknown with regard to, well, how is this book going to be received? And that's was borne out in the fan mail and the other mail that I went through. And some of it is positive, some of it's negative, some of it's somewhere in between. The vast majority of it was positive, but not all of it, and I'll show you some of it. There's three main categories of mail. The first category is mail that he received from other players. And here's a letter he received from Gary Bell, who was his teammate on the Seattle Pilots. And if you read Ball 4, you know that Gary Bell's a pretty prominent player on the Pilots, pretty prominent character within the book. And Bouton and Bell were good friends then, and they remained good friends for many years. So this is a very tongue-in-cheek letter, and it's very, the voice is very in keeping with the Gary Bell voice that comes through when you read Ball 4. And here's what it says. Thanks to that fucking book of yours, I can't get a job anywhere in baseball or out. We hope you have plenty of room because we're thinking of moving in with you. Drop us a line when you have time, ass eyes. Bouton also received a lot of notes from people who said that they loved the book, but they were kind of embarrassed or afraid to admit that they liked it. And here's one such letter. Dear Jim, I've been connected with the sports writing family all my life, and that half of the family probably won't like your book. But so far, my husband and I think it's great. And the best part is the end. You see what I highlighted in green. Can't sign name, would be disinherited. And I think that's, before it became acceptable to like the book, I think that's how a lot of people felt. They really enjoyed the book, but they were afraid to admit that they enjoyed it. And so this is a good example. My next letter is one that was written to Bouton from, I guess we'd call her a baseball Annie, a baseball groupie. And so it goes on for a bit, but here's the pertinent part. She writes, from the time I was 19 until last year, a span of about 5 years, I went out with baseball players. I, for one, applaud you for writing this book. I know that many players feel hostile about anyone telling what goes on after they leave the field, but it really is about time that someone knocked them off their pedestals and revealed the truth that they're not heroes off of Wheaties boxes, but just men, horny men at that. And at the bottom is the best part of this letter. It says, P.S. George Brunette does wear underwear, a reference to the book. And so that's some of the fan mail that he got. And as I said, most of it was positive, but not all of it. And so here's some not so positive, I wouldn't call it fan mail, but mail nevertheless. So I'll read a little bit of this one. Dear Mr. Bouton, we are rudely disturbed by the way you criticize many ball players, especially Joe Pepitone, Mickey Mantle, Elston Howard. P.S., and there's another P.S., Confucius say, he who takes off all his clothes is like horny old craphead Bouton. Whatever that means. Interesting, nonetheless. Here's another one. It goes on for a while, but I'll just read part of it. Dear, question mark, Mr. Bouton, although I have not read your tome, Ball 4, I have read several lengthy reviews of it, enough to have a fairly good idea of its content. You have done no service to the youth of America, believe me. Apparently, your literary skills are on par with your pitching prowess, or better still, with your batting ability. The baseball guides give your height at 6 feet, but believe me, Jim Bouton is a much smaller man. And in blue on the bottom is Bouton's response to that last crack, where he corrects the letter writer by saying that actually he's 5'11" and a half. The final word, though, when it comes to Ball 4 and the response to Ball 4 is a simple, straightforward letter that comes from Mike Burke, who was the president of the Yankees. And Bouton refers to this in the first update to Ball 4, which came out in 1981. His letter written on Yankee Stadium pretty much sums it up. I, on the other hand, enjoyed it. Best, Michael Burke. And I think that that opinion is the one that's prevailed as time has gone on and Ball 4 has taken its place as a true baseball classic. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. My book is available if you're interested. If you want to follow me on Twitter or go to my website, that'd be great. I hope to have more of these things pretty soon, but until then, take care.